Hey everyone, welcome to How to Recognize the Type of Graph from a Table. This is Nicholas JMV. So I just got one example, and we're going to show you basically in this one how to recognize if a table is exponential. Okay, so based on the table, based on each table here, identify the type of function it is. Okay, so remember in Algebra 2, when we first started this, we can go ahead and look at our tables here. And what you want to do is look for patterns. Okay, so what I'm looking for here is a pattern. So if I look here, I can see that every time I change by 1 here. Okay, now from a table, if we were talking about polynomials, we were looking at differences. Okay, and however many differences we take, that's the degree of our polynomial. So if I look here from -7 to -5, I'm increasing. Okay, and every time I'm increasing by 2. And notice that if I take that first difference, okay, it's a difference of something that's common. It's all 2's. Okay, since it's the same number, okay, and it's our first difference, we know that this is a linear table. So that table represents a linear equation. Okay, so again, now from the second one, you might be able just to guess if you're looking at patterns. Again, we're changing by 1 here. Okay, now if we look, -3 and 3 have the same value, 2 and -2. This is actually going to be a quadratic. You can see it's going to be x squared, but let's look at differences. Okay, so the difference here is -5. Okay, 1 minus 4, -3, 0 minus 1, -1, 1 minus 0 is 1, 4 minus 1 is 3, 9 minus 4 is 5. And notice how the differences are not the same. And so our first difference means this is not linear. If I take one more set of differences, I get 2. The difference there is 2, 2, 2, and 2. The second differences all have the same number. It just so happens in this case it's 2 again. This becomes a quadratic equation. This is a quadratic polynomial. Okay. Now, how do you tell if something it maybe not be a polynomial? Well, what you want to see here is if you notice from this table, you start off really, really small, and then all of a sudden things just start to jump. It starts to go really high. So if I'm looking at this table, again, I see a +1 here. Everything's changing by 1 on the x's. Okay, but I'm jumping up by a large number. So these are kind of small, but if I go from 4/3 to 4, how do I make 4/3 4? I can multiply by 3. If I want to make 4 go to 12, I can multiply by 3. 12 to 36, you got it, multiply by 3. And 36 to 108, you're multiplying by 3. And so if we went down here, it's again multiply by 3 and multiply by 3. So if you are consistently multiplying between your y values by the same number, here it's 3, you have an exponential function. So that's the key. You could try to look at differences, but they're too big, too far in between. You're going to do it forever. So look for a pattern of maybe multiplication or division. If it's multiplication by a number greater than 1, you've got exponential growth. If it's a fraction between 0 and 1, if you're dividing by a number smaller than 1, it's going to be exponential decay. So that's how you tell if a table it represents an exponential function. So if you guys have any questions or comments, let me know, and we'll see you next time.